a service of CNC Worldwide.
CNC podcasts are a service of CNC Worldwide, and they're made possible by the Greece Chamber of Commerce, providing more than 800 member companies with business solutions since 1984. Federal Transportation Department officials have proposed some new rules on railroad tank cars carrying crude oil, cars which routinely pass through the Rochester area on the CSX Railroad. Senators Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand both confirmed the DOT rules include a quick phase-out of an old model tank car, the DOT Type 111. These cars have a tendency to rupture in a crash and spill their loads. They were one of the factors blamed in last year's Lac-Mégantic disaster in Quebec, where a collision caused an explosion that burned much of that city's downtown and killed more than 40 people. Until they are phased out, trains carrying the Type 111 cars are to run at reduced speeds. There's been a nationwide surge in oil shipment by rail since the Bakken fields were opened in North Dakota. 400,000 carloads of crude crossed the country last year. Much of it passed through Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse on CSX. Information obtained by Gannett and the Associated Press through the Freedom of Information Law shows some 24 oil trains pass through Monroe County each week. Most take the so-called West Shore line through the suburbs instead of going through downtown. Thursday marks the 50th anniversary of the riot of 1964 in Rochester, or as some now call it, the Rebellion of '64. Rochester Mayor Lovely Warren and a city delegation marked the event with a ceremonial relighting of the High Falls in downtown Rochester. Mayor Warren says some things have changed since 1964 and some haven't, and the mayor said, "We will not rest until justice flows through." A New York Times article says Governor Cuomo's top aide, Larry Schwartz, prevented the governor's anti-corruption panel from looking into the activities of the governor himself. In Wednesday's editions, the Times says its investigation shows Schwartz at least twice told the commission to pull back subpoenas it had issued, one for the ad agency that handled Governor Cuomo's campaign advertising, and one for the Real Estate Board of New York, which includes some of the governor's biggest campaign donors. The governor submitted a 13-page rebuttal denying his office improperly interfered with the Moreland Commission. Cuomo's political adversaries, including State Republican Party Chair Ed Cox, say this is criminal interference. A federal prosecutor has already taken over the investigation, actually some time ago, and all of the commission's records. A Monroe County court jury has found Jeffrey Blunt guilty of second-degree murder and conspiracy in the shooting death of William Click a year and a half ago. Click was shot 3 times on Copley Street in Rochester, and Blunt was accused of conspiring with Catherine Makaroff to lure Click to the location where he was killed. Makaroff pled guilty and testified against Blunt at his trial. Blunt will be sentenced September 11th. This case was featured in an episode of A&E's The First 48 just this month. A woman on a bicycle was hit by a van early Wednesday morning in a hit-and-run on Clifford Avenue near the corner of Goodman Street. Rochester police say the 41-year-old woman suffered life-threatening injuries. They've not yet released her identity. The driver left the scene, and police were looking for the van as of Wednesday night. A Waterloo couple's been charged with endangering the welfare of a child after a village police officer had to rescue a toddler from the Erie Canal. Police were first called by a woman who spotted the 2 unattended children in her backyard. They arrived to find that one child had gone back home, but the younger one was still missing. Police and firefighters fanned out searching for that 3-year-old. Officer Matthew Scaglione decided to check the canal, which runs behind all those houses. That's where he spotted the 3-year-old floating on his back in the middle of the water. Officer Scaglione dove in, pulled the boy out, and began CPR. The child was taken to Strong Memorial Hospital for observation and was released on Wednesday. Investigation showed both children had climbed out of the house through an open window. Neil McMillan and Chelsea Tyser were each charged with 2 counts of child endangerment. A Wayne County woman is the latest to face charges after she left her 7-year-old son inside a car near Eastview Mall in Ontario County on Tuesday evening. 41-year-old Christine Slezak of Macedon has been charged with endangering the welfare of a child for leaving her son in an unlocked hot car outside a store. The child was fine, but his mom has a date in court. Paperwork's been finalized to bring Batavia's United Memorial Medical Center and the Clifton Springs Hospital and Clinic into the newly formed Rochester Regional Health System, RRHS, and is the merger of Unity and the Rochester General Health Systems. The terms were worked out and approved by the new RRHS board at its inaugural meeting earlier this month. The next CNC podcast is whenever you click on one of our pages and happen to catch one, and we post updates as necessary. I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.